I have an outrageous claim. All week, I've been having outrageous claims. But I have an outrageous claim. You can get into sync licensing. And today, I'm going to walk you through the overview of how I got into sync licensing, and I'm going to make it very easy for you to get into sync too. Now, I hear you saying, Eric, I don't know about these digital courses, these newfangled digital courses that you say that I can learn from. Well, you know what? That's okay, because I've got something else for you, and it is going to change the way you think about taking digital courses. So we're going to talk about that today. Because what if I told you that you could not only get into the Getting in Sync course that's now at its final price and special price today, but you could also get involved in a weekly Zoom class with me, explaining everything, going through all the videos, going through the entire course, teaching you like you are in school, like you are in my class. And I know there are probably people in here right now that are in my class that I teach, and you could be in my class and we could be going through all of this information together. I could be teaching you how I got into sync, how other people have got into sync licensing and television and film and advertising, and how you can get in there too. And that's kind of the entire point of today's webinar. And this, we're just celebrating the fact that this course is finally finished and out, and you can take this course. And as part of the course, and then part of the live class, we'll also be doing kind of a mini mastermind in there where we will listen to each other's compositions and give feedback. Now, there are people in here already that I can see that have been part of this before. I see Andreas there. How are you doing, Andreas? Good to see you. I see Matthias there, Daydream Studios. He's been part of our mastermind before. I see Arco, and Arco says, yo, free. But the whole point of today is to really help you to give you some actionable, helpful information. And then we're going to go over the course and what it offers. And we call this the Getting in Sync webinar. And the point of it is give you solid teaching, give you an opportunity to join me in learning how to get your music into TV and film and advertising and gaming and more. And yes, I'm giving you all this information today for free. It's all free. There's so much free. So if you've missed any videos in this series, I've been doing a video series all week of live videos called 5 Outrageous Claims About Sync Licensing, all leading up to our special webinar today. And it's called, yes, you. This is my outrageous claim for you today. You can get into sync licensing. So this video today and this whole series, I think, will really give you value and insight into sync and why sync licensing to television, to film, to advertising, to gaming, and more needs to be a major focus and part of your goals to make the music that you love and make music income. I know it is for me because I just got a big check. I just got my biggest quarterly performance rights check yet from BMI. It's my first. A few weeks ago, we had Marcus Manderson on here, the fingers, and he told us about his first 4-figure BMI check. And guess what? I got my first 4-figure check, multiple 4 figures even. And so if you are thinking about this, if you are looking for a way to take your music to the next level, one of the things you have to be thinking about, my friends, that I think is just as important as getting all of your music up to Spotify, as performances, as getting it on YouTube, all these things, I think you've got to look at sync licensing. And I think you've got to look at it seriously as something that can not only get you some thoughts of, oh yeah, my stuff's on TV, or if it's getting used for different things like that, that's cool. But what's better is this is one of those things, and there's not many things these days that do this, that bring you money in the back end, that gives you royalties for years. And this is something that we haven't had as artists and as composers, and especially artists. I've always worked with artists, and money in the back end, royalties, has been the hardest thing to come by. Well, that's what this is all about. That's what our first day of this, and all the videos, by the way, are in the description below. So you can go check them out after this webinar, because this has been a fun week where we have given a lot of stuff away, but we have also given a lot of information. And now if you go back and look at any of those videos from the week, you will see a very tightly edited informational video on why artists have to sync, why licensing is crucial for composers, why non-exclusive sync is still a thing, and why it's not all about the sync brief, which is why some people don't want to get into this, because they think they have to write what the libraries want, what the music supervisors want, what TV shows want. You actually don't have to. And I'm proof of that, especially with the check that I just got from BMI. So just saying, well, you'll find all those videos in the description. And of course, this whole thing is being sponsored today by and for the Getting in Sync course. And the Getting in Sync course is what we're here to celebrate today. My goal is to get everybody into our program and get everybody, just hanging out in this ecosphere of Make Music Income, especially just to help you get to the next place in income for you with your music. It's not all about money. And I have some people every once in a while that push back and say, is it all about money? No, it's not all about money, but why shouldn't you make something from your efforts and from your hard work? And you can live a life like I do, and where all your incomes come from something related to music, or you can do it part-time and make some part-time music. But sync, I think, is great for all of those things, all of licensing. But I want to start with my supposition here, my great supposition of this whole webinar, and that is that you can get into sync licensing. And I know exactly how to do it because I've done it already. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. That's the whole point of today. I want you to get into this with me. We should all be in it. It's like we should all be in Spotify. It's like we should all be doing events if that's what we want to do. We should all be teaching if that's something you feel like you should do. There's so many things in music we all can be doing. There's room for all of us. You might think it's something that is everybody's in, so it's got to be just too crowded. It's not. There's so much music that's needed. But you can get your music into TV. Think of TV alone. How many TV networks are exploding? How many TV networks are there every other day? You see a new television network you've never heard of, and it's got new shows that you've never heard of, and all of those shows need music. So someone has to provide those music to those shows. There's no shortage of new movies coming out, whether they're movies that go out to theaters or they're movies that come on. How many movies a week come on Netflix and Prime and Hulu and that are originally made for these things? They all need music and need pieces, just songs that are played in the middle that aren't even related to the score. And then there's the biggie, advertising. Advertising and commercials. That is the biggest paying of all. Gaming, video games need music and use songs too. And that's just 4 things. There's all sorts of places where songs can work like little employees for you and make you money while you sleep. That is the dream. And I hear you saying, oh no, he didn't go there. He didn't use the old, it makes you money while you sleep dream. Friends, it's not a dream. I woke up yesterday and I looked at my business account and there were 2 4-figure deposits in there. That's not a dream. Believe me, I was literally pinching myself, calling my wife, telling her about this money and saying, am I dreaming? Because if I am dreaming, I'm going to be really mad. But no, here's how simple this is. I got $2,500 yesterday in my business account from BMI, from royalties, just because I did a piano arrangement of the Star Spangled Banner, and it was used in a national cable news show, and it was broadcast on their XM Sirius radio show. All that, just that alone, brought over $2,000. And I had no idea that was happening. I didn't know until I saw those deposits and said, what the heck? And then when I was finally able to look at the statements, I could see where it was used. And that kind of thing, you don't even have a clue on. I didn't know about a very beautiful placement in the Netflix show Love is Blind. But last quarter, when the checks came in, I made $300 or $400 just from different uses on Hulu and especially Netflix and other streaming shows, including the great Love is Blind placement. So that was really cool. So how did I get into sync? How can you get into sync? That's the whole point of this webinar. And I think I have to start with the very beginning. And this is how the course kind of rolls. I start by defining a lot of definition of what sync is. But then when I talk about how I get into sync, one of the main things I talk about is my focus plan for sync. And I think this is the part that you've got to have. And I think most people don't have this. And this is why I teach this and focus on this, because you can't just say, okay, I'm going to write a bunch of songs. Tell me where to throw them or tell me who to send them to. You've got to be very, very focused on this. And so when I was going to change my life from being a music producer full-time to make music income to hearing about all of this sync licensing stuff and get into it, I knew that I had to come up with a plan. I'm a planner. I write notes down. I'm always writing checklists and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, you might be tempted just to make songs and throw them into libraries or try to wedge your way into music libraries. This is a terrible idea. You can research a library and make sure it's, first of all, a library that might sound like the songs you have. And so I decided to take a very calculated approach to this and really study this, because when I started, there was only like one guru teaching about this, and that was Jesse on Sync My Music. And you should definitely go to syncmymusic.com and subscribe to Jesse as well, because he really tells it like it is. And I took part in one membership type of thing, similar to the thing I'm talking to you all on about, but it was way more expensive. It was $1,000 or it was $100 a month or something like this. And this was 6 or 7 years ago when I was first getting into this. And I took part in this membership and followed the group conversations and even had a song accepted. But what I learned from that group was that TV really wanted positive, upbeat music. And so that's what I started to make. In addition to all the stuff that I normally do, like piano music, which is how I made a lot of money this particular quarter, jazz music, which has made me money, especially in radio before, classical music, world music, pop and rock, of course, and other genres. And so I kind of have been focused on positive music for a long time. And I would suggest that you also really focus on positive music. It's not that the television and film don't need dark, tension-y music and different things like that. But for the most part, a lot of the songs you're going to get signed are happy, upbeat songs that can be used in scenes where they need music behind it. And so I just changed the whole narrative of my career. And I started digging up old songs that were great. And maybe you can identify with this. They were great, but I never had a use for them. Or I had a use. I just like to write them, but I didn't have an artist that needed to sing them, or I didn't want to go out and be an artist and sing them. So I started bringing these up, and I started bringing my clients and letting them be partners in putting these together. And we made top quality versions of these songs. And my first songs, I had really two different first albums that I pitched. One was a positive pop album, which is very much pop and rock with great vocalists singing all vocal music. And then I had a Christmas album, which was a classical Christmas album, but had a few vocals and then a few also instrumentals. And I pitched these around and looked for a library, and I didn't find one until I did. And it happened to be a library that was tied in with BMG, which is a big search engine in the space of sync licensing. And this is a little secret. When you do start looking for libraries, which we'll talk about next, you really need to look for ones that are tied in with a bigger company, like a BMG, like a Universal. because that is the real key to getting stuff into TV shows, because people are doing searches, and this is probably going to be the next push and focus on sync on this channel, is talking to music supervisors, talking to sync agents, and finding out where they go, how they go find these songs, and what libraries they go to. To me, that's going to be the next interesting thing to talk about, and I think it will be interesting to you, because we got to think about who the client is. Before I can do that, though, we have to talk about making the right music. Now, I told you I made a certain kind of music, positive pop music, and this is very key. Like I said, I knew that people had uses for positive pop music. I had been told this by other people. And so I knew that that was a big deal. Number two, I knew that people needed Christmas music. They always need Christmas music. It's every year there's new Christmas music needed. And so I made Christmas music that I thought would be useful. And it was, and it has been. And every year I put more Christmas music out. Last year, and it was used. I got paid. I think I got paid for some of that in this current PRO statement, but probably more Christmas stuff will pay in November. It takes a long time for some of that stuff, especially stuff that's coming over from Europe, when I get a lot of stuff played in Germany on television there. So making the right kind of music was a very important part, and I had to do that. I had to make the right music, because I still have music that I'm making, and I'm making it on purpose. So it will be, even though it's music that I want to make, and this is the balance, making the music that you want to make versus making, and also at the same time, making music that works for whoever you're sending it to. It's a very careful balance. Now, some people, like I said yesterday when we were talking about briefs and answering what libraries want, a lot of people in sync will tell you, don't worry about what you want. Don't worry about your artistic vision. Nobody cares about it. I disagree with that point. That's where I fundamentally disagree with a lot of my contemporaries in sync and on YouTube and everywhere else. I don't think that you can't or shouldn't write the music you love, but you do have to walk a balance between writing music that you love to make and music that is needed by TV shows, by music supervisors, by people who are making films, by people who are doing advertising. You kind of have to have one leg in that and one leg in artistic making. So whenever I work with artists now, my goal is, let's make a song that not only can be used for you and your brand, but also can be used for brands and for television and for other uses, so that there can be a back-end royalties that you're getting every quarter, just like I got this quarter. And so making the right music is the next biggest deal in this whole thing. And then the next hard part is, now I have getting signed here, and I don't necessarily mean getting signed by like a record label or something like that. Getting signed to a library that is going to be pushing your music out and making it available to people who are doing searches for a certain kind of music. And I learned just yesterday from my library owner that libraries or people who are searching for a song to use behind a scene in a TV show, reality show, a movie, a TV movie, any kind of film, or maybe even advertising, when they go to one of these big libraries and they go to search, they are really looking for a certain thing. And sometimes it doesn't include vocals. So they can do a search without vocals, because all the time I hear my stuff on Hack Your Home and all these other little different shows that my music's on, and they're just using the background, the track. They're not even using the vocal version at all, just the track only. Well, from what I found out yesterday, they can go in and search only for instrumental music. They're not just searching for vocals, and they can choose to search for vocals, but they can also choose to search for background music. So I think that's very interesting that when you get into these libraries, the one reason that they have you give them instrumental versions or cut down versions or different kinds of versions is because they need to be able to find these songs, and the way they find these songs is through search engines mostly. Now, there are other ways, and we talk about this in the course, that you can get your music into TV and film, especially advertising, by going direct to music supervisors, going direct to sync agents who find music for advertisers. But that is as I talk about in the course, we have a whole section on that. And we talk about that in our class, and we go into each one of those things. And there's even videos on this channel where I've talked to people who are sync agents, who are looking for particular songs or who have had success going directly to music supervisors. It's a different deal. And most of this course is kind of focused on libraries and getting into libraries and working it that way. And to be honest, that's personally the way I want to do it. And so getting signed to my first library was a big deal. That happened in late 2020. And then getting signed to other libraries, 4 or 5 more throughout the past 3 or 4 years, has been a way that I've gotten songs into Netflix. I found out I had some songs played on CBS, on NFL. I've had songs played in Hulu, on Amazon Prime, all over the place. Germany, on all sorts of shows, and across Europe and different shows. But that comes from getting signed to a library. And that's a big part of what we talk about in the course. And I think that's very important to figure out that particular step in getting signed to libraries. It's a bit of an art. It's a bit of a patience game. All sync is a bit of a patience game. The song that made me so many thousands of dollars, this particular paycheck, and I only say that because I've never had multiple thousands. I've never had 4 figures on a BMI statement, so I'm still kind of in like, wouldn't it? You might say, Eric, isn't that interesting? You just happen to get a 4-figure PRO statement on the day that you're doing the webinar for your sync licensing. That just is a little fishy sounding. It really is. I call it God. You can call it anything you want to call it. It just so happened that today the webinar fell on the day of the BMI day. I actually found out yesterday about this, but it doesn't hurt at all. So we talked about finding the right libraries, and you'll just have to take the course to hear how I contacted libraries, how I found them, how I wrote letters to them. That's all in there. And it's a big part of, like I said, getting signed to libraries is a big part of this. And that's a big part of this whole course and the ebook and all that kind of stuff. I kind of go into very, very detail about how I got into each one, and I give you also the skinny and the links. When you get the course, and today you also get the class, but you also get the ebook that started it all and has all links to all the things I'm talking about, all the libraries, all the different deals, all the videos that I talk about, all the information that I talk about. So you get all of that when you get the course. Now, let's talk about something you might be interested. So you're saying, hey, Eric, let's say you got signed to a library. What's next? Well, what's next is you've got to get your songs into the shows. Now, you don't do this. You have no control over this part. This part is not what you control. You can't control what happens here. But what happens generally here is someone wants to license your music, mainly because they find it in a library. And like I said earlier, there are different ways to get placements. You can do it yourself and hustle your butt off. And we've had people on our show who have done that. And we have sync agents who can hustle up like syncs that get you on shows and in advertising. But the more traditional, and what most people will talk to you about online, including my friend Jesse, my friend Dave Croft of 52Qs, great channel you should check out, 52qs.com. Another great guy is Clint Music. We've been on each other's shows. He's super great, as we would say, dope. He's super dope. He's really super duper dope. And you should check out Clint. But all of them, including me, we talk about the fact that people are finding our music through some kind of library. And we're getting placements because someone is searching at the time for our song or for a song. And so they're searching for a song, and these libraries will do it. People will just do a search into their favorite library, and some of them have 2 or 3 different places they go searching for songs. Whoever used the song that I just got paid for a lot in this particular BMI payment, they were on a cable news channel, and I still am not quite sure. I'll do a deep dive video into this BMI check probably in the next week and talk about how and why I got paid and show you the numbers and all that kind of stuff, as you know I like to do. Just because I know you're interested in seeing numbers and how people made money and what the thing was and how much it paid. I love the science of it, so you must love it too. So, but getting placements is not very scientific. In other words, you don't have much control over that. You just have to be someplace where people can stumble upon what you have and want it. Now, that might sound very chancy and like it only happens by the grace of God, and that might be true. I don't know, but they think if your job was to look for music for a TV show, and you had a scene where you were like, okay, I've got to find music for this scene, and what's happening here is it's the happy middle scene. The couple has met and they are on their romantic day out, and they're walking through New York City and running and playing and doing goofy things with each other. And we need upbeat, positive music. It needs to be a love song. It can even have lyrics, and it needs to be something and general, happy, love being with you, all this kind of stuff. This is how songs are found. They don't always, sometimes they might have a song that the person doing the score for the TV show or the movie might already have that song, or they might write it for that song. But more often than not, they've already filmed this scene and they need music behind it. They've got to have some music to go with everybody running around and having a good time and stealing kisses and chasing after each other and being goofy and all that stuff. There has to be a song. Where do they find that song? Well, I had someone on, Mark Freezer of Sync Summit. He was on the show and he told me the 3 ways they find it. Either they know somebody that has the song and they just know it off the top of their head, which is not very probably possible all the time. Number 2, they go to one of their people that they know that can make the music. But more often than not, the third option is what happens. They don't have the song they want. They don't have any budget. They don't know somebody to do it. So they say, how much money do we have left? $1,000, $2,000, $500, whatever it is. Let's go to a library and let's find the song we need and get it in the film. We don't have time. We're getting ready to produce this movie and get it out onto Netflix. The Netflix date is coming up. We've got to get it done. And so they are going and finding what they need for this song and getting it and finding it from a library. And this is how it happens. They can do a search for a certain kind of feeling, for a certain kind of genre, for a certain kind of a male, female voice or instrumental. They can go and find exactly what they need. It's Christmas. It's a Christmas movie. We need something Christmassy, but we don't want anything that's got copyright in it. So make sure it's public domain, but make sure it's fun and upbeat and new and different. And this is how these songs are found. And so it's a game, and is it luck? Maybe. But the song that I got paid for yesterday, and in this quarter of BMI, is a patriotic song. It's a Star Spangled Banner. The odds, and I'm a big believer, y'all, in non-exclusive, or I should say, public domain or certain genres. I'm big into patriotic music because, especially in the U.S., there's many patriotic songs that are needed for films and stuff all the time in different versions, unique different versions. This was a solo piano version of all things. This was not a big, huge production. They also need Christmas. I have solo piano all the way through fully produced Christmas stuff and all kinds of stuff. I have Halloween music. So I believe a lot in holiday music. I also believe, and the good thing about patriotic music in the United States is there's 4 major holidays, or 5 even sometimes. Flag Day, if you count Flag Day and Patriotic Day and all these kind of things, you have Veterans Day and Independence Day, and you have Memorial Day, and you have all these days that people are looking for patriotic music. Halloween, Christmas, Easter, I make a lot of income from people who want hymns for Easter. And March and April are very popular months for me, both in non-exclusive and exclusive libraries for people who want that kind of music. So that's the thing. You've got to be where in a place that a thing that people need, a quantity and a kind of song that people need. And I think that's very important. That's to be succinct. That's how you get placements. You get placements by being what people need. But I do still think that you can write the songs you want to write and write them in a way. So like I said, you have one eye on writing what you want to write, but the other eye on, is there going to be a use for this? Because my goal is to get this into a sync library and get it used in TV shows and get it used in films and get it used in ads and get it used in all sorts of stuff. And this is how this kind of rolls, this whole thing. Thanks everybody who's given me thumbs up. Boy, 87 likes. That is amazing. Thank you so much for doing that today. So you say, Eric, okay, I've got stuff in a TV show. I can see it. There's sites like TuneSat, or I hear it on a TV show, or my library tells me, oh, you got some big placements in this TV show, or you got a trailer, or you got this, or you got that. And you're saying, wow, cool. How do I get paid? Let's talk about the thing that most everybody probably wants to know about. How do you get paid for these placements that you're getting? And this is kind of the real secret. There's a lot of ways that you get paid. So number one, we have what happened to me this week with BMI. You get a quarterly payment for what we call performance royalties. You register with BMI or ASCAP or wherever. You're going to register with a performance rights organization. And the TV show that uses the song that you have is going to hopefully file a cue sheet to BMI. They have to file a cue sheet saying we use this song by this composer and this publisher, and that is how we use this song, and that goes back to BMI, and eventually, months later, sometimes 6 months, 9 months, a year later, and by the way, the songs that I got paid for yesterday were used in late 22 and early 2023. Over a year ago, they were used. Over a year and a half ago, they were used. And I'm just getting paid now. And so when we talk a lot in the course about the long game of sync. It could be very long. And we have to deal with that kind of thing. And so it's a long game waiting for that stuff. And just because I woke up today with that music doesn't mean, with that money in my account, doesn't mean that I knew that was going to come. So very interesting how it works out, and very interesting how this whole thing happens. There's another way you can make money in sync, and that is by being paid an upfront fee. Now, you need to know, and it's important to know, when I say the word upfront, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get paid upfront, that you're going to get paid when it actually airs. Libraries will pay once or twice a year their upfronts. In other words, they'll get the money, and they have to go through all kinds of machinations to get that money. Let's say it's a BMI library, a BMG library. They have to get the money from BMG, and then money has to be sorted out among all their writers, and then they pay twice a year, just similar to the way that BMI or ASCAP pays every quarter. And so these upfront fees can also be called consideration fees, although I haven't heard that many people calling it that lately. I've heard someone I interviewed on this channel talking about being a work for hire writer, where they're paid up front $1,000 to write something, and then they get to keep the writer's side of the publishing. And in the course, in all of our information in the class, we go through the whole publishing and how all publishing works and how you get money from all of this. This is part of what we talk about. We also talk about a lot of other like side income, like neighboring rights, which is a kind of a hard thing to explain, but we talk about it a lot in the course. I've seen on the Netflix show that I just had a song on, I've seen that really go crazy with streaming and really boost my streaming numbers, which is very cool. The song that I had placed on Love is Blind, After 9 months, still people are shazamming that all the time and listen to the song on streaming, and it has really actually brought some income from streaming, to be honest. So that's pretty cool. So there's a lot of things. YouTube boosts. People can find you as an artist and go to your channel for merch stuff and give you other opportunities. I know one artist who was flown out to California and featured in a commercial because she had a great video or a great rap song for a grocery store called Save a Lot. And it is a killer song, and they flew her out to be like the artist in that thing. So this is kind of again, I'm going to give you right now the scheme. This is my focus plan, and of course the class goes into it a lot more deeply, and the course goes into it a lot more. I didn't plan when I started this channel to be offering a course in sync licensing. I was just talking about stuff because nobody was talking about stuff. I had no idea how to monetize a YouTube channel or do anything like this. But as I started talking about it more, people wanted more, and I started writing ebooks, and people wanted those, and then people got now you're watching something about the course. But it's very it was a very focused plan that I had to get into sync, and I had to start with someone, and you're going to need to start with someone who can give you all the details you need in order to get this thing going. And so I had to do all these things. I had to have a focused plan, get the right songs. That was the next thing. Make the right music that would work well in sync. And I only learned the right music because I took that course that I took. And I learned how and what kind of music they were getting on TV shows. And I made that right music. And the next thing I did was I worked hard to find a music library that would work well with my music and want my music. And I found that, and then others. And then I got placements. Because that library did great work for me and got those songs into TV shows. And then after that, I got paid. And yesterday, or this particular BMI check, even though it's a great 4-figure check, very cool, but I've gotten paid for years now from this. And maybe it's only been in the hundreds before, but it has certainly been helpful on every quarter that pays. And I've gotten sync payments from my libraries as well. So that has been good. And there has been some outside interest from streaming and different things where people have found my music and gone to look at it there. And then rinse and repeat. You just keep doing this. This is the thing. It's kind of like being an artist. You're going to make music, you're going to be an artist, and you're going to make an album, and then you're going to market that album, and then what are you going to do after that? Well, you're going to make another album, or you're going to make a single, and then you're going to market that single with maybe short media and different stuff, and then you're going to make another single. It's just a cycle of making music and getting it out so it can be marketed and make income and then come back in. And so that's what we're talking about here. Kevin Wallach says published, writing more, waiting on placements. Yeah. So when you get into a library and you are waiting on placements, this is when time seems to slow down and it seems like nothing is ever going to happen. And I know how this feels, and I'm there. I'm waiting for more placements. I just talked to my library owner yesterday, one of my library owners, still my first library, my biggest library, and I just signed 2 more albums with them, and I got one up, and I'm waiting for a contract on that one. And you know what I didn't talk about in my things as far as the list of kind of steps for sync is the first one is certainly that you are getting your stuff into the library, but then you have to wait for the library to get it in. Like right now, the library has said, yes, I have a library. They've got my newest 2 albums, and they said yes. And I've delivered one of them completely to them with all the different files, but now I have to wait for that library to actually to ingest the music and put it live so that when people do searches, they find it. So there's a little bit of time even for that. And then after that, you have to wait for the right person to find the right song at the right time. And that can be a long process. And that's where you can be like, is anyone interested? Yeah, I've got stuff in a library. And I know that there are different people who have been here this week who have been saying, I've just been waiting for placements. I totally get that. I totally get that. And I live that myself. Every day I'm looking at TuneSat and I'm looking at all my libraries and say, is anybody using a song? And then I get paid $2,000 in one payment for a song that I just apparently, as far as I know, they got from one of my other non-exclusive libraries, and maybe even as part of a monthly payment package. They just did it probably cost them 25 cents, or I probably got paid 25 cents for the library use. What do we call that when we're in a monthly payment plan, a subscription, and I get a little bit of pennies for that. And then later on, because it got used on a national cable news channel and their Sirius radio station, then that turns into thousands of dollars. It's kind of incredible, to be honest with you. But we're all waiting on placements, so great to hear that. Nick says, I think I'm just in the music writing stage. I got my ASCAP lined up, but I haven't uploaded or published. You know, I find that is the case for a lot of people. You've made music, but you really haven't done anything with it. And this I find with artists, I find this with composers, I find this with a lot of people. And there's one thing I can't teach you in this course, unfortunately, and I tell this to my students, and I know one of my students is in here right now. I can't make you do stuff. You know, I can teach you how to do stuff and show you what my experience is and talk about things, but I can't come over to your house and upload the song and push the button for you. Only you can do that. I can't make the music for you. I can't come over there. I literally can make the music for you. That was kind of a lie, because I do that all the time. All I do is make music for people and help them make their music and produce it. And so that is something that I do. Laura says, writing, editing, and looking for libraries. Good. Excited to talk with Laura about her music, and we've got that. She was a winner this week as well. Ruth says, I've written 3 Christmas songs, almost ready for Pond 5 and Arrange Me. You know what? Pond 5 might have been how I made $2,000 just now. I don't know. It's either Pond 5, Audio Jungle, or Motion Array. One of those that has I guess, as far as I can tell. I mean, sometimes you just don't know how people find your music. But they had to find it in a place that had my publisher, my writer info, and my publisher info, because they filed it correctly and I got paid through BMI. And so this is why it's so important to put all these things, all this information in the metadata of your songs, when you put stuff on Pond 5, make sure you're putting your PRO information up there, because this is a case where I got paid thousands of dollars down the line because they used that song for some national television stuff on a cable channel. Dex Williams says, when I got into library music, I was reading that it would take 3 years from composing to getting paid. That was my experience almost to the day from my first composition to BMI payment. You know, I won't say same. It was probably only about 2 years for me, but still very much the same. I got signed, and well, I guess if you're saying from composing to getting paid, sure, it could be 3 years. Now, most people look at that and go, 3 years? I can't wait 3 years to get paid. Why not? What are you doing? Do you not want $2,000 in 3 years? You got something against that? Why not? My whole thing about sync is, why shouldn't you do licensing? It's the same argument I have. People say, I don't know if I should put my music up on Spotify. It doesn't pay very much. It doesn't pay very much until it does, or until somebody wants to hear your music and say, are you on Spotify? And you have to go, no, I haven't put it up there yet. That's on you. So the same thing with licensing. There's no reason you shouldn't be doing this. This is something that people need. People need the music for these shows, for these movies, for these advertisements. And I just don't see a reason why not to do it. It's been part of my whole journey on this channel. You've watched from me saying that I'm in one library, I'm in 2 libraries, I'm in 3 libraries, I'm in 4 libraries. I just got into this library. Here's this library. And you've watched my conversations with people and how to get your music better heard and all this kind of stuff. And all of this stuff, all that we're talking about, is in this class and in this course. And it's all why this course even exists, is because people continue to ask me about it. They continue to ask me, you got your music on TV, you're making money, how can I do it? And this is what this whole course is about. Because once I found out about sync licensing, it was a no-brainer for me. And maybe you're in the same way. Maybe you are looking at this video now, and you're going, you know, I keep hearing him talk about making money with the music, and I've got music, or I want to make music, and I don't want to do live work. I don't want to do, or maybe I do. I don't think I can make much money on Spotify, but they're talking about making hundreds or thousands, and then Dex is right here, and then it just keeps paying, because I that stuff that I had on Netflix that paid $160 or $70 last quarter only paid about $85 this quarter, but it's still paid, and that's going to be on Netflix for a long time, and people are going to keep binging that show and keep watching that show, and there's going to keep being payments. But it just, and different songs get used at different times for different things. So this is why I think I wanted to make sure that I shared kind of my whole thoughts. This is Alex. He was in the class, and he said, Eric is a thorough and entertaining teacher. Thank you. He said he's very generous in showing his process and the mistakes he's made. It's all about my process, and every good thing and bad thing. I've had a lot of misses as well as successes. He keeps it real. There's a ton of info that he is able to organize and present. And not only do you get the course today, but you also get the class where I go over the course. In other words, we watch the videos together. I'll stop the video of me talking to tell you the stuff. It's very meta, kind of. But I will stop the video and go through a point maybe that I probably could have gone farther on when I was doing the original video. So you kind of get more than the course. That's the beautiful thing about the class. So in this course, I describe how I successfully started a sync licensing career, from composing the songs, just like Dex just said, to music production, to making contact and getting in exclusive and non-exclusive libraries, and making music income from television placements, which is exactly what happened and why I woke up to multiple thousands of dollars yesterday. I don't mean to keep saying that like it's a humble brag, but it's like I told my students, there's a humble brag, and then there's just facts, right? And things just happen, and I'm just amazed by it. And I want you to have that same thing too, just like the people who taught me about this, just like Jesse who talks to me about this, just like Dave who talks about this. They're only talking about it because it's happening to them. And I'm only talking to you because this is happening to me. So if you just go to the link below to go to the Getting in Sync course, you can just check it out for free to see if you even like the style of the teaching. That's getting close, folks, to all I have today for the webinar. I hope you have enjoyed this webinar. I really want to thank you for watching up to this point. And if you have questions about the Getting in Sync course, please put them in the comments below for this webinar. And I think you will really enjoy it, and I would love to have you part of our class. And I just want to thank you for watching this presentation, and I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.